Hello, and if you're new here, we're Clancy and Fiona. We're a Aussie couple that bought a abandoned croft house in Scotland. We saw the croft house on our honeymoon and just fell head over heels. It settled in April 2025, and this is our first trip back in August 2025 to start repairs on the croft house. So if you're just joining us this week, we are still working on the roof. When we purchased the property, the roof had some rather large holes in it, and last week we got in and replaced several rafters that were rotten from the leaking roof, and we also pulled out a whole heap of sarking boards, and this week we are just getting the last of those sarking boards in and replacing them. So it's a very exciting time in this restoration because obviously the roof is a really big deal, and we will be reusing those original slates so it will look original just like it did. And yeah, it's getting exciting at this point, and we're racing towards obviously the weather change that is coming because it's currently summer and we'll be heading into autumn. So, you know, with that comes weather and rain and all of those things. So I'll talk you through the project as we go, but I just also thought I would chat through obviously a bit about us and the project and give you a bit of context as to, you know, who we are and what we are doing in Scotland. So as I mentioned, we are husband and wife, and we just absolutely love old things. Our first project that we ever did together was a 100-year-old farmhouse in country Australia, and it was really rough when we bought it, and all we could see was the potential that it held. So buying the croft house wasn't dissimilar to that at all. So we love an adventure, and we love a challenge, and we love history and bringing things back to life. So that's exactly what we're doing here in Scotland. And we are two Aussies, as I mentioned, and we do live in Australia full time. So it's definitely going to have its challenges. But what we're hoping to do is we're hoping to travel back each year and just chip away at this project as time and money allows. That's why we're getting started with the roof, because we want to make sure that the building is structurally sound and we don't want things getting any worse. So the roof was first cab off the rank. You might have actually seen that we've been digging some manure out as well while we waited for some deliveries. And have a look at this scenery. So this is a little drive that we took to get some more sarking boards. We did run short, just one board to go, and just look at this scenery.
Just over £2 in weight. Will that do? It'll be about a kilo.
About what?
A kilo, £2, 2.2 pounds.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Big moment. We have the last piece of sarking board going on in this big section of roof that we have had to repair. We fell one board short yesterday, so this feels like a very big, exciting moment. And then next will be a waterproof membrane that goes up, and then we'll be getting those slates up there too. The weather has just cleared. It's still quite windy, but we did have a bit of rain this morning, so it's exciting to have that sorted. First a cup of tea and then back to it. Last sarking board going up felt like such a big moment, but back to where this all sort of started. So we actually found this place on our honeymoon and we just fell in love with it. Scotland's a very special place for us. We do have a family tie and family there, and it just felt like we would really love to have a place, a base to visit and make it an annual thing that we would go back to Scotland and be able to see and connect with our family more. My father was born in Scotland. He's since passed, but his family are all still there. So it's lovely to go back and I guess just have that base and connection, not only to them, but also to him. So it's felt very, very special. So we're just getting the sarking boards have gone up and we're just getting the builder's paper on now. You can see how windy it was. Very, very windy on this day, and I do believe we actually get a bit of weather on the next day. These are the Caithness slates, so they're absolutely massive, and you'll see like the first slates that go down are very, very large, and the first row, 2 slates actually sandwich together and go on, and then as the slates move up towards the apex of the roof, they get smaller. Now, we didn't number these. We did sort of keep them in rough sort of size piles. So similar sizes went together and just got piled together. Obviously had quite a lot of broken slates and slates that were just destroyed and missing, mostly just for falling off the roof, and then also the cows actually stomping on them and breaking them, unfortunately. So we would have loved to have pulled them off and numbered them and sort of used a bit more method to this, but with everything that was missing, it really didn't work out that way. So yeah, we just basically went off measurements. We had the slates that were already still like on the roof to use as a guide, and we just used flick line to make sure everything was plumb and straight and fix them in place with a nail. We did consult with local stonemason and builder to sort of make sure that we were doing this right, and there were a few slates that we had to put new holes in for the nail to hold on. So yeah, it was a learning process, but it really did come together quite well. And these slates were just absolutely massive, so very, very heavy, and wouldn't think of using anything else for this project. The original slates had to go back on, and we did end up having to source some more as well, so that was very exciting. And of course, being in a new place that is quite rural, it was a very big learning curve, very different to Australia. In Australia, we have like a very big hardware chain store that you go in and you can get everything you need basically in store, and timber, everything, absolutely everything. And this was a little different. There were some great hardware stores, but it was just very old school, very different. We also had trouble because our van didn't have enough clearance to actually get down to the Croft House. So we got a lot of timber delivered, and thankfully we had the best neighbours. They not only took us in and told us where to go for everything, but they also brought down like all of our big deliveries on the tractor, which I don't think we would have gotten as far as we did, or we definitely wouldn't have gotten as far as we did if we hadn't had their help. That were just absolutely amazing. So yeah, that was very very helpful, and it was just a big learning curve. The other thing we had trouble with was because we have the same postcode as the Orkney Islands, even though it's on the mainland, our deliveries were just a bit strange. They would get cancelled, and then they'd turn up, and yeah, it was very, very different experience. But yeah, we actually ended up getting everything we needed, and I think next trip we we'll just know what to expect. We've already got those contacts with those stores, so we'll actually be able to order things in advance. We've got contacts with local trades as well, which will make a huge difference. And we'll be able to line things up a little bit better just in advance and sort of have things, hopefully, ready to go. It's always easy to say that, and then when it comes to the reality of it doesn't always play out like that. But I'm feeling much more prepared and confident for the next trip. And yeah, the next trip, we are in the middle of planning the next trip. Feeling a little bit daunted and confronted by it. I think just like any time you sort of, are planning a big trip, let alone one where you're doing a huge project like this, it just always seems a little overwhelming. But I just keep telling myself every day I am not going to get stressed by this, and just do little bite-sized pieces and just keep ticking things off the list. And I know that we'll get there because, we've already done the first trip, and the first trip was always going to be the hardest. We'll also take over probably a lot more than we did last time. Last time when we flew over, we had a really great baggage allowance, and we had 42 kilos checked in luggage each. And we took over tons of stuff, tools and just things that are expensive that we already owned. And we thought, okay, well, let's not eat into the budget anymore. Let's take some of the things that we already have. Okay, here's these slates. Look at them. That's the size comparison. My hand versus how big that slate is. It's just absolutely crazy to me. Didn't realize how big they were until we actually pulled them down. And then I guess I thought I would chat through quickly just about why did we buy this croft house? And if you've ever had a look around, there seems to be a lot of abandoned houses, of sorts all over Scotland and Wales too. We were looking through Wales as well, and you can even look further down into France, and there's some beautiful historic buildings down there as well. This is actually me holding up that builder's paper with a stick. There was lots of up and down, back and forth. This is actually us taking some measurements with the stonemason. So we got all of the dimensions all sorted for next season. We're hoping to repoint the house. But yeah, this project, basically for us, we settled on this project. It felt deeply personal. There was a tie to my clan, which is the Gunn clan. It's in Gunn territory. It was a beautiful double-story croft house, which are relatively rare. You don't tend to see them. The view, the location, and we also had the chance to meet our neighbours before we purchased, which I think made a big difference for us because they were just really lovely to us. So that all felt like it was meant to be. In the last clips just gone by, just while I was in the middle of chatting through that, Clancy was just setting up a catwalk around the second story just to make it safe to tie down the roof in the days to come. But yeah, that's what we're getting on to next. I'll leave the video there this week, and yeah, I hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much for joining in and watching our videos. It really has meant a lot to us, and be sure to subscribe so you see our videos coming out each week. And yeah, give us some support, like and comment. We'll chat to you again. Bye for now.